An important thing to remember about a sacred union is that most people want it before they're ready for it. If I had met my partner at any other point on my journey, truly, before really understanding the intricacies of my own psyche, before having a solid understanding of the spiritual journey and why we're all here, before having a firm understanding of the nature of suffering, of darkness, of karma, and how to navigate it, before understanding the process of purification, its purpose, and how to recognize it, my partner and I probably would have folded months ago, just as things were getting good. The thing is that we tend to romanticize these types of connections without recognizing what it is we're actually signing up for. And the rarity of these connections and the intensity and purity of the love that you experience together is that much more of an incentive to get your shit straight. Your higher selves will use each other to purify one another deeply. Sacred union is like the carrot on a stick that entices us to be more honest with ourselves and to do the work. Otherwise, it will be taken away from us one way or another. Sacred union is not a comfy place for the unintegrated ego. The intensity of light from your love will shine onto every dark and forgotten aspect of every inconsistency in your personality will be highlighted. Every area that shame or guilt lives will be exposed. All of your wounds, traumas, and fears will be poked and prodded at. No stone will be left unturned. This is something that's not only happening in your experience. You will also be asked to be able to hold space for your partner as they reveal layers of themselves as well that are going to be sometimes hard to receive. Every day with your lover will be like embarking on a mission. The rate of transformation is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And it reveals to you the nature of love, of true love, and what it is that we're all here to do. And it will come when you're ready.
Man, I feel like she hit the hammer on the nail with that one. Or is it the nail on the head? Hammer on the nail. Anyways, relationships aren't meant to make you happy. They're meant to make you, well, I'll share that a little later. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Amanda Haynes. And if you're new here, I'm happy to have you. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're inspired, go ahead and subscribe if you like the vibe and would like to join the tribe. Most of us go through life looking for someone to make us whole, looking for a counterpart or our better half. But the thing is we're already whole on our own. And when we seek relationships by coming from a place of incompleteness or lack of wholeness, we end up manifesting relationships that show us where our insecurities lie, where our wounds are. It's not about being happy. It's not about filling a void. It's so much deeper than that. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Let's get started.
A conscious relationship is a relationship between two conscious people. It's a relationship where people aren't looking to be in relationship because of a need for a relationship, because they are fully healed. They are fully conscious and aware of who they are. They are perfectly fine, happy, and healthy with themselves. It's just they are now ready to share an energetic relationship with another human being. Most human beings are looking for relationship because they need a relationship. They're living essentially from the outside in. So the same way they need alcohol, the same way they need the television, the same way they need entertainment, they need a relationship, a partner to fulfill something that is inside of them that they truly should be able to fulfill on their own.
Oh, he was preaching today. It's important for us to meet our own needs before we go looking for someone else to meet them for us. Because every time we're going to be disappointed. Because that's not what a relationship is for. A relationship is meant to wake you up. It's meant to show you the broken parts of yourself, the unhealed parts of yourself. It's supposed to be a safe container where you two can heal together by bringing up these deep-seated wounds that live within you and then working through them, not only individually, but simultaneously with one another. Let's keep going.
Conscious relationship to me is when you are in a union with another person and you are conscious of what you are bringing into that relationship, how you are showing up in that relationship, what kind of partner you are being in that relationship, and you are doing your best to always continue evolving and growing and expanding your consciousness within yourself. And with that, your partner is doing the same, and you are both committed to continuing to expand that consciousness individually and together as a sacred union. You're extremely conscious of what the terms of your soul contract with that person is so that you can continue to have a healthy and thriving relationship.
I feel like she really summed that up very well. But one thing that I've noticed is the continuous use of conscious. And I think that that can tend to throw people off because on a day-to-day basis, we feel conscious. We feel like we're fully aware of everything that's going on around us and why we do the things that we do. And we feel fully justified in our actions, our feelings. But the thing about relationships that I think tend to puzzle us and perplex us is that when we're triggered in relationship, we tend to go completely unconscious and we move from that state of unconsciousness. It's in this unconscious state, this unaware, triggered state that we're in that blocks our growth and expansion. So when we're talking about conscious relationships, much like she said, we're talking about being fully aware of everything that's happening and in every way that we're showing up in this relationship. So that means when my partner triggers me and says something that I take offense to, instead of lashing out on my partner and believing that my partner is the source of my discontentment, conscious relationship is about going inside first and figuring out why there's a wound there in the first place. The wound tends to start in childhood. And as adults, people just pour salt on those wounds that were birthed as kids. Being a part of a conscious relationship is about going inside first and looking at where there could possibly already be a pre-existing wound and working to heal that wound via whatever medium you choose to use, whether that's inner child work, shadow work, EFT tapping, talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, whatever method you choose to utilize in healing, but going back, looking at that, healing that first, or maybe you even talk to your partner before the healing has taken place, but it's not a lashing out that happens. It's a conscious, calm conversation that happens where both parties are able to communicate and listen to one another and hold compassion and space for each other and love each other throughout it. Conscious relationships are not common. Let's keep going.
The reason you get so triggered by your partner is because it is secretly an invitation from the universe, from God, from spirit, from source, to meet a deeper, unhealed part of yourself. And when you go within and notice what is coming up within, and you're curious about that, you can meet that with compassion, openness, and you can learn from that. That is when you freaking grow and heal and evolve. But the moment you're externally focused and blaming your partner and projecting onto your partner, you're handing over your power. So it is an inside out game, not an outside in game.
I really like how he said this is an inside out game, not an outside in game. And essentially, he's right. Our partners are just our mirrors. They're just showing us where we're living. They're showing us where our wounds are, and they're giving us an opportunity to look inside in a way that we wouldn't be able to single. When you're single and you enjoy your own company, life is great. I mean, there's no one that you're having to make decisions with. You're not having to compromise on anything. You just get to live in this place that feels great. But the caveat to living this awesome single life is that essentially you lack the mirror into your deepest wounds via triggers from your partner. So being in a relationship is really such a blessing and a privilege because you're able to see inside of yourself in a way that you don't necessarily get to see when you're single. Ultimately, relationships aren't meant to make you happy. They're meant to make you conscious. And that's probably why the divorce rate is so high, is because we're looking for a constant state of happiness with our partner, a state where we're not triggered and they meet all of our needs. But we're going about relationships in an improper way because we're not taking accountability for our own triggers and we're expecting people to meet needs that we should be able to meet within ourselves.
Jay Shetty really said, make them fall more in love with themselves. Oh my freaking goodness. I cannot tell you how much I agree with this sentiment. So much. Especially when we are talking about romantic relationships with your partners. Something that I tell my partner all of the time is that I only want what is best for you, whether that includes me or not. And that level of commitment to someone's highest self, to someone's highest good, to the version of themselves that serves them the best, that makes some of the most conscious relationships I have ever been a part of. Because that means that you understand that the most important relationship that anybody can have is not with another being, but with themselves.
Man, she said something then. And if that's triggering for anyone, ask yourself why. Why do you feel you need to be the center of their world? Isn't true love wanting the best for someone regardless? Ultimately, wanting something from someone is serving the ego. It's serving the self, and that is not where love blossoms from. Love comes from giving and extending to one another. And love is also not a one-way channel. So it's not that I give love and then I'm out of it and I'm empty of it. It's in giving love that I receive love. It's like a two-way trajectory. It's like I give it and I simultaneously receive it back as I give it. That's why you can't replicate the feeling of doing something really nice for someone. There's nothing that matches that. It's in giving to others that you're really giving to yourself, and you're loving yourself. And you just can't replicate that. True love is not about holding and keeping. It's really about loving and letting go. And if someone still chooses to be with you in this letting go that's happening of, I'm not here to hold you and possess you and have you. I want the best for you. I want you to blossom and grow and be the best you. It's in loving someone from that space and them still choosing to be with you that makes it all worthwhile. But when we get into this space where we want to hold and possess and never let go and I never want you to leave, it's in this place of attachment that really comes from our ego, and our ego cannot love. Egos do not love. Egos want something. They want to be cherished. They want to be loved. They want to be respected. They want to be adored. But the thing is you can't force any of those things. And when we try to force someone to love us, especially to love us in the way that we want to be loved, instead of choosing partners who choose to love us in the way that they want to love us, but that resonates with us also, we end up in a more fulfilled place. You know, we tend to go through life possessing people because they bring up this feeling, they evoke this feeling within us that we can't recreate without them. And so we meet someone and they create this feeling inside of us that we call love. We want to possess them. We want to keep them because they're the only one that's been able to create this feeling in us. And we don't want to let them go because we don't know how to get back there ourselves. And so we want to hold on to them until they stop creating this feeling in us. And once they can no longer recreate this feeling of love, then they're no longer worthy. They no longer have a space in our lives. Another thing I did in the beginning of my conscious relationship that I'm in now, which is by far the most expansive, loving space I've ever been in with another human being, let alone romantic relationship. Before we even got together, when we were really just getting to know each other, I asked God to make our relationship holy, for it to serve holy purposes and not purposes I deemed worthy. And in doing this relationship has allowed me to see in the most graceful way wounds that still exist that need to be healed. But I'm now with a partner who is such a safe space for that to happen, who holds space for me, who is compassionate and loving, and who I get the opportunity to be all of those things for. And it's like, once you're in a conscious relationship, you can't unsee it. Like, you can't go back to anything less than conscious after the fact. It's really an interesting topic. It's an interesting place to be. And we're all just kind of learning along the way. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. Have you ever been in a conscious relationship? And what was that experience like for you? I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't already, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's really struggling with relationships or someone who is longing for a relationship. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.